Hey everyone, welcome to another very short and very quick edition of Trading Bitcoin. Starting this one a little late. I usually leave the house, 5 minutes from now in order to make the conference, the Dialogue of the Continents by Reinventing Bretton Woods. But I don't know, I decided to tweet about Shapeshift this morning, and I'm dealing with like a million comments, so that kind of held me up a little bit. All right, let me pop out the troll box, set this to what I'm looking at, and we'll go right to screen share. I'm gonna try to do a lightning version on what's going on with the price. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, so here's my Twitter, really quick. People just don't understand the concept of unregistered securities. They just don't. They think everything is okay. And I don't have time to argue with people. I really don't. But here's the deal. I'll make this real quick. So I understand why Shapeshift wants to share all of your personal information with the government. That is what happens when you have a company and you as a CEO don't want to go to prison. So Shapeshift, as I have been critical of Shapeshift from day one, I never felt that that company had any usefulness in the world of crypto. Eric Voorhees was someone that I looked up to when I was joining the space. He was one of the OGs of Bitcoin that helped explain it to me and why Bitcoin was important. And even when he started Shapeshift on day one, it puzzled me a little bit. Why would someone, want to dilute Bitcoin, and why would someone that supposedly liked Bitcoin wanted to, make Bitcoin less relevant to the world? So the concept of Shapeshift didn't make sense to me, but at least, it was run like a, something for the people of crypto, because it was an anonymous way to move from one crypto to another. Now, you have to understand that can't last, because if he wants to be regulated, if he doesn't want to go to prison, he has to KYC you, and he has to provide all of your information to the government when the government calls him and asks him for your information. So that is why they are going to have a mandatory, oh man, I can't look at it. If you read that last line, membership is optional, but it will become mandatory soon. So you can assume this is a mandatory membership. Now, having a mandatory membership, having a mandatory KYC is not a scam. That's what the business is, right? That's becoming a business. The scam part of Shapeshift is the Fox token, because the only way you can justify having a Fox token that requires, free market trading ability. We should probably talk about this on our morning show. It's supposed to be a price show, but anyway, this is a security scam. It's so obvious to me. It's so simple to me. The first idiot that says do your own research is just an idiot. I done my research. It's right here. I tweeted it to you. It's grossly obvious, right? So if you were not going to have mandatory signups, you can make the argument that you can have a membership token that needs price discovery, because you don't know who the people are. But the moment you know who the people are, having a censorship-resistant, unconfiscatable membership that's anonymous doesn't make any sense anymore, right? Because you're not anonymous. So it's one or the other. Shapeshift wants the best of both worlds. They want to be compliant with the government. They want to share all your personal information. And they want to, clearly they're not making enough money. So they want to, scam you out of your money by giving you a completely useless utility token. And everyone is going to jump on this because it's an affinity scam, because everybody believes in Eric Voorhees and Shapeshift. So there you go. So enjoy it. And good luck. I hope all of the speculators in this unlicensed security lose their money, because that's what happens when you buy into garbage. So there you go. If you don't want to take my advice, then and staying away from garbage like Foxcoin, then don't. I mean, I'm not going to feel bad for you if if this thing goes to zero. In fact, I want it to go to zero sooner than later, so that people realize how stupid of an investment this is. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about the price. Look, you can make a legitimate utility token. It's just that nobody does. We can talk about that. Like actually having a token that's a membership is one of the legit use cases for a token, but you have to do it in a legitimate way. And the way Shapeshift is doing it is in a scammy way. So there's a big difference there. We can talk about a legitimate way to do a membership token. I can see the argument there, and I can buy into that, but not the way Shapeshift's doing it. That's just scammy. Okay, nothing on the monthly, nothing on the hyperwave. I got about 5 to 10 minutes. Let's make this quick. So the middle Bollinger Band, you are right at the middle Bollinger Band. So guess what? You are at a resistance point. It's just because you close above the middle Bollinger Band, it doesn't mean anything. You can see how 5 weeks ago, the week of July 23rd, we closed above the middle Bollinger Band, and that led us to a 33% correction down. So it means absolutely nothing closing above the middle Bollinger Band. What you need to do is close above the middle Bollinger Band and have an entire candle open and close above the middle Bollinger Band. Now, of course, you can have an entire candle open and close above the middle Bollinger Band, and at the same time hit the top of your Bollinger like this, right? So you had a candle finally close above the Bollinger Band. Actually, this one closed above. So we're talking June 2015. And the next one was a tight candle opened and closed above. And that's a very good sign. And that gave you 2 amazing weeks of upside where the price of Bitcoin went from 250 all the way to 315. That's a pretty good move. That's a $75 move on 250. So that's about a 30% jump to the upside, which is pretty substantial. But after that, it didn't last. Okay, so you needed to do it again. But like, look at the bear market of 2014, right? You had a stretch here. Like, again, to me, we may go into the zone right here when we see how we were above the middle Bollinger Band all throughout the summer. We were, and then we still went to significant lows. So again, it'll take me a while to admit the bear market's over. And I'd rather be late than early, because being late to the bull market means you still make a lot of money. Being early to the bull market means you're going to lose a lot of money. So it's obvious to me what the right choice is. So I'd rather be late to the bull market than early, because being early could make you broke. So here's the weekly chart. We are in a green 2 above a green 1, and we did make a new noticeable high. However, even with this, remember, we did that back here as well. This was a green 1. This was a massive green 2. So even with that, I looked at the oscillators last time. I'm not going to look at it now. You have room. You have room to go to the upside and still be in a dead cat bounce. And as long as we have room to go to the upside within a dead cat bounce situation, I'm not going to think of this anything other than a dead cat bounce. Now, you see it right here between 75.50 this week or 7,600 this week and the 30-week moving average of 7,800. But next week, that drops to 7,500, and we will see where the 30-week moving average is. But this vicinity of the declining trend line of the descending triangle and the 30-week moving average is formidable resistance. It's as much resistance as the depth cross in combination with the same line was a month and a half ago. So I do not take this lightly. And I think that all bullish trades in the swing to medium term outlook are unreasonably dangerous. Your risk reward is ridiculous. If I'm doing anything in this market, is I'm looking for shorting opportunities. Here is the one-day chart. You can see how the one-day chart gave you a 9, and that 9 did not lead to any substantial correction, and that's okay. You can see my green line 2 days later. That means you had a green 2 on the sequential following a green 1 of the sequential, and it's breaking the 128-day moving average. Now we are on a daily 5, and we don't have any countdown numbers. So let me see here. I'm going to open the countdown to be viewable. So you're only on a 2 of countdown, so that's a 5. So I will be looking for a 9, so maybe 4 more days of upside, maybe as high as 7,600, and then I'll be looking for a top. So now that we are above the 128-day moving average and we are on a 5 of 9 sequential, there is a, using the daily scale, the weekly scale, your bullish trades are still too risky, but the daily scale could be considered a reasonable place to potentially do a very short swing trade to the upside. And when would that end? I expect that to end in about 4 days. Okay, it can end right now, but 4 days before another 9, before another take profit opportunity. So can we go as high as the 200-day moving average at 7,800? Yes, because 7,800 is also the 30-week moving average. Okay, on a weekly chart. So there is a little bit of room to the upside using daily candles. Here are the 12-hour candles. Now the 12-hour candles are telling you to get out of this market. So again, this green line shows you where a bullish entry could be based on a 12-hour candle. You have a green 2 above a green 1. You are breaking setup trend. You are breaking prior highs, and you're in the countdown phase to 13. And this red line probably means that's where I would set my stop loss once, you know, we swung all the way to 7,400, and you can see the stop loss was never hit. So what would I do now if I use the sequential and the 12-hour chart for my trading purposes? Right now, I would absolutely be raising the stop loss to the bottom of yesterday's, or, you know, the prior candle's low. This is where my stop loss would be, unless I already took my profit. Now, this 8 candle is a bit of a reversal candle, but it's not higher than, you know, earlier in the swing on September 2nd. So I didn't exactly have the perfect opportunity to take my profit at the top. So I would just raise my stop loss and see what happens in the current 12-hour candle with 5 hours to go. But yes, I would be looking to exit this trade. Look at what happened the last time we had a 12-hour 9. We pulled back from a high of 71.30 to a low of 6,800. That was a nice $300 correction. So do I expect anything different on this 9? Well, a little bit, right? I think this 9 is not as toppy as the last 9 was on the 12-hour chart on August 28th. So using the sequential, why is this 9 not as toppy? Well, for starters, the current 9 is above the setup trend line, which gives it a higher probability of going into a countdown. Another reason why this 9 is more bullish than the last 9 is because you are in the middle of a countdown, so it's only an 8 of 13. So there's more upside to go based on the prior 9 that took place. So you're 8 of 13 looking for 13. Now there's a third reason why this current 9 is less toppy than the prior 9, is that the prior 9 was itself like a 2 or a 3 week high, when this 9 is not a, well, this 9 or 8 combination is not a 2 or a 3 week high, because you hit a high 3 days earlier. So for those 3 reasons, this 9 has a higher probability for the prices to keep going up than the prior 9 did. It doesn't mean that it will, just has a higher probability that it could. Here is the, I hate when that happens. I don't understand why. Here is the 4-hour chart. Now the 4-hour chart is also on a 9. So now you have a 12-hour and the 4-hour both on 9s. We've seen this before. We also saw this on the 28th, and we had that $300 correction. So this 4-hour 9 helps you exit the trade off the 12-hour 9, but the daily is on a bullish 5, so that is still bullish. So your 4-hour chart is telling you to potentially get out, but just like the 12-hour, the current 4-hour 9 is not as toppy as the last, not the last, but the 9 from 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, I should say, because that one was above setup trend. Actually, it was above setup trend, so that part is the same. That one did not have a countdown telling you it can go higher, and this one does. You are dealing with a countdown from a 4-hour 9 that took place on September 2nd, which is telling you you're only on a 7 of 13, so there's potentially more upside. You're also flat at the top, where back on the 28th of August, you made a huge swing high on the prior candle. So this is the reason why the current 9 is not as toppy as the 9 from September 28th. And this 9 is very similar to the 9 that took place on September 2nd. And you can see how the September 2nd 9 kept going to the upside, but also the 12-hour was, but this one is a little bit weaker than the one on September 2nd because the 12-hour is also on a 9. This is confusing, but for my clients and for those that attended my workshop, it shouldn't be, because you guys should be an expert at this indicator by now. And the 1-hour chart doesn't really matter. So shorts continue to be over leveraged to the downside, and that's why I expect there to be more upside, because those shorts have to lose money. Like the majority of people lose money, and if the majority of people are short, then they have a problem. Correct. I see a question from Will. Shorts are still over leveraged, and therefore I think that a little more upside is still, or flatness is still reasonable as those shorts deleverage. Ethereum continues to go down. As Ugly Old Goat likes to say, it's the exit, because Ethereum is an unscalable nightmare that people, for some reason, just can't comprehend. They're living in a dream. The S&P 500 is on a weekly 9, like I've been saying. You may want to take your profit and see what happens. That's my outlook for the stock market. If you go higher next week, you get in on the week after. Okay, wait for a green 2 above a green 1 above the high of last week in order to get back into the stock market. I'm working on new presentations, so that's what that was. So let's look at today. I'm gonna run. I'm already running late. I got about a 15-minute walk. And Wednesday, September 5th, we are starting at 9 a.m. With the new reality of emerging markets, and very good speakers. Today is going to be more of a crypto day. We have Nouriel Rubini speaking as well, 2 panels before mine. I am on a panel with Tour de Meester. That should be great. And yeah, we're going to talk about cryptos at reInvent. It's the Dialogue of the Continents Conference by Reinventing Bretton Woods Committee. So that should be very, very good. Thought I saw an interesting name here. Hold on. No, okay. All right. After that, I am off to the cruise. I am flying out tomorrow to Barcelona to go to the cruise, and then Kiev, and then lots of other destinations, including Honey Badger and Blockchain Day in the Netherlands and Prague, and then Ukraine again, including a day at Chernobyl, and a couple of events in Singapore where I'll be speaking at. All right, guys, I gotta run. If you want to support my work, you can attend one of my workshops and learn how to trade. You can also check out the affiliate section, and you can support that way. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but that's how you can support my free content. which is why I don't mind shilling my affiliate codes. And the same goes for, you may have to refresh or stop your ad blocker. My website has no ads. Feel free to whitelist my website. And if you're going to do your Amazon shopping, please click on one of these links. And even if you don't need any of my tech gadgets, and then go from there. And that also helps to support this YouTube channel. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop screen share. Again, I gotta trying to look sharp at some of these non-Bitcoin conferences where I usually wear t-shirts, and it's really interesting. And that's about it. What do I think of Maxcoin? I think of Maxcoin the same way I think of Dogecoin. You know, Maxcoin is probably a little bit more useful than Dogecoin, not as hyped up. I think of Maxcoin the same as I think of Litecoin. They are Bitcoin forks. They are the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And if you read Saifedean Ammous's book, silver to Bitcoin's gold is a useless money. So please go read Saifedean's book to understand why calling yourself the silver to Bitcoin's gold is basically you're saying how useless your currency is. All right, guys, that's it for me. I will talk to you all on the next one.